Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4! And today, spawning in the north corner of the map, playing in red, we've got Anatand, playing as the House of Lancaster. And, well, apparently he's building a barracks. Looks like there's going to be some early aggression. And the player that's going to be going up against that aggression is none other than Crackety here in the south in blue, playing as the Mongols. Welcome everyone to Dry Arabia. As always, hope you're all having a great morning, good afternoon, or good evening. And it's an interesting matchup. You've got the House of Lancaster, which is typically relatively passive, looking to get plenty of those manors. Instead, we've got the House of Lancaster today opening up with some spearmen, maybe looking to put some pressure on the Mongols' Uvu. On the other side of things, though, Mongols, of course, no strangers to aggression. And I think a big part of why the House of Lancaster are doing this today is maybe because they're worried about Mongols' aggression. Of course, probably one of the most aggressive civilizations in Age of Empires 4, at least they are rewarded for being so. With every building they set afire, they do get some bounty. Although, with the Mongols, we have been seeing some slight different kind of playstyles. Fast Imperial has been one of the things they go for. The Kaganet Palace in the Imperial Age gives them free units from different sort of, I guess they call it part of the Mongol Empire, but they can get some of the warrior monks from the Rus, they can get Hui Hui Pao, they can get elite Mangadai, they can get some knights too as well, so knights always a good addition to any army. Looks like the spearmen moving south. Wait, where are they? Hang on a minute. Where are they going? Is he? This is highly unusual. Okay, maybe he's looking to push in the deer camp, maybe. Maybe he had a change of heart. Either way. Okay, yeah, he is looking to push in the deer camp. Maybe look to go to the castle age pretty soon, but I don't think I've ever seen this before. Players going for early units in the form of spearmen to push in the deer specifically. Not to put some pressure on, but to push in the deer. We have sometimes seen the Ottomans do it, of course. With the military school, they get some free spearmen that way. Very interesting. Might end up putting the Lancaster Castle in this location anyway, just to protect the deer camp and the gold. But definitely a slightly different playstyle than we're usually expecting. I would like to say, by the way, a very big thank you for everyone who's been supporting the channel. You guys are absolute legends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Special shout out, of course, to the YouTube channel members and the Twitch subscribers. But also, if you've been enjoying the content, make sure that you are subscribed. More importantly, hit the notification bell so that you do get a bit of a ding-dong when I do upload the next video. And yeah, hopefully going to be getting a couple more good games with some interesting strategies. Of course, these two civilizations, well, I mean the House of Lancaster and the Knights Templar, the two new civilizations are being figured out. Lots of players using slightly different strategies. Certainly we'll be hoping to cover those in more detail. Yeah, certainly with this number of villages and gold, very, I guess it's going to the feudal age, right? The early spearman play is really setting back in terms of that feudal age play. There is the Lancaster Castle. It will be the deer stones for the Mongols. No real surprises there. One thing I was kind of considering, actually, the Mongols' trade can be quite powerful. Don't think we've seen that strategy up against the House of Lancaster before. We have seen it with the Abbasids, and they didn't fare so well. But instead, it won't be the silver tree. It is indeed the deer stones. I mean, look at the map, though. The thing is, the map is actually really nice here for Anatand. Especially now that he's got the Lancaster Castle coming up in this location. Just wall to the edge of the map from this wood line. Wall towards the castle. On the right side, this little small wall here will give it a lot of coverage. And then, yeah, you can keep on going. Right until the edge of the map. Very natural walls available. It's going to be tricky for the Mongols to push on in if those walls do end up going up at some point in the game. No production buildings. I suspect maybe that's why, you know, Anatand didn't really bother sending the spears. There's only so much value you can get from pushing the over, right? So instead he thought, well, let's get the deer camp instead. That makes a lot more sense. As to the reason why he didn't really put any pressure with the spearmen. There wasn't too much to be able to pressure. And it's courtesy of the map spawn, right, for the Mongols. Gold and wood very close by. Can't really ask for much more as the Mongols player. There is the Lancaster Castle, just about to be going up. 4 villages on stone certainly suggests there's going to be a large play into the manors. And that's the thing about going for Dark Age spears, right? You don't really know what your enemy's map location and position and map generation is like, so you're kind of going in dark, and unfortunately Anatan there didn't get the rub of the green, and in any case, the Mongols have left it to the feudal age before putting a production building, and it will be an archery range, going for some Mangadai. But the walls are starting to go up here for Anatan. And so is the first mana. Speaking of which, it has been nerfed recently. So it actually only gives you 60 food and 45 wood. I believe it was 75 food it used to give you per mana. It was absolutely incredible. But they are very tanky buildings nonetheless. They gain 500 health, as well as an arrow slit emplacement when they're under the influence of the Lancaster Castle. And with the split of villagers, it certainly looks like Crackety may make a few units, but then it looks like it's probably going to go for the castle age. I think once you see the walls up as well, you'll probably be forced into it. It's nice to be able to spend the extra stone though, to be able to double produce the units. A relatively quiet stage of the game. Surprisingly so, when you've got the Mongols on one side. Now let me know what you guys think about the two new civilizations. We've seen it for a couple of days now. Got the House of Lancaster recently been nerfed very quickly. The Knights Templar feels like they're coming to their fore a little bit. Couple of cool units, to say the least. Sergeants are a nice one. They're a favourite of mine. Not seemingly a favourite of many of the pro players, though. They don't seem to be used that often. And you've got some cool units like the Templar Brothers. Again, not really seeing too many of those either. Hopefully, we'll just cast more games and get them under our belt and see them in action. See what they have to offer. Third mana. Going to be coming up soon now for Anatan. That could be a race to the castle edge. It looks like Crackety should get there first, and that could put him in a good position to then mop up some of those relics. Pretty evenly spaced, all things considered. The walls on the left side now. It means that the Mangadai can't really achieve too much on this left side. It's going to have to pivot to the right. But when you factor in a lot of the economy is in the form of the manors and the gold vein and the food underneath the town centre, everything is very, very well protected here for Anatan. Kind of curious to see what the landmark will be, whether it will be the Kurultai, whether it will be the Steppe Redoubt. Feels like it's got to be Steppe Redoubt, especially if you're thinking about Fast Imperial Age, which is something that Crackety I feel is doing a lot these days. But we'll find out soon enough. Just a handful of Mangadai. It's going to be a race to a castle age. Yeah, indeed, it will be the Steppe Redoubt. It's going up with 10 villagers, so should get there quick time. Not much wood in the bank, though, for a prayer tent, which I'd imagine you'd want to get pretty quickly to be able to pick up some of those relics. The question is, does he decide to put Castle Age pressure or go to the Imperial Age? Going to be ahead there into the Castle Age quite significantly, the Mongols. It's going to be the King's College, going up with 8 villagers. Give them access to some unique techs. Double stable, so looking to get some cavalry units, no doubt. The Knight play can be quite strong for the House of Lancaster. But up against Mangadai could be an issue. Though, of course, we don't know necessarily that Crackety is going to be committing to that. Could go for crossbows too, which could certainly help. Just hanging out on this gold vein. I love that play, by the way, because, of course, at some point, Lancaster will need to go over to that secondary gold. Well, not for a while, though. Now the castle age is in play. Of course, Crackety will want to force the villagers and delay them as much as they can in terms of gold income. Also take out some spearmen if you can. Just keep the Lancaster back at home. Maybe get a couple of prayer tents and pick up some of the relics. But he's not picked up a single one just yet, or he's not even got a prayer tent up and running. Only 3 villagers on wood. I mean, that suggests really is a fast Imperial Age play, right? Because there's no real emphasis on production buildings. He hasn't got a single upgrade, would you believe, as well. So no blacksmith, of course, no eco-techs either. So it really looks like he is favouring and really focusing on to the Imperial Age, which, by the way, he'll be able to afford with just 1 single gold vein. So again, it's not something that actually the House of Lancaster can punish too much. Hobbler added into the mix. I don't know how much he's going to commit to that. He's got a couple of stables, making some knights. So with that in mind, I wonder if he's going to get a monastery of his own. Yeah, there is. There is that monastery that Anatan is now making. Looking to pick up some of those juicy relics. Oh, floaty hobbler. A pretty quiet game so far, but we have a saying on the channel that often quiet games leading up to a big event. Usually it's a quiet before the storm. Never actually took the deer camp in the end. Doesn't really need it, right? Considering how much food he's getting in from the manors. He's only sticking with a handful so far, though. So it looks like he went for 3 manors into a fast castle type play. And into picking up some relics. First one. First scholar, I think, or monk has been spawned yet? Yeah, it's somewhere on the field. The scout will spot the barracks. A couple of crossbows added in for the Mongols player. But no prayer tent. And he's certainly stockpiling the resources to get to the Imperial Age. He's not far off, actually, as it happens. He's got the gold he needs, just a bit more food needed. And then he'll be well on his way. And in a way, it kind of makes sense, right? Going for the Cabinet Palace means that he gets more units for free. I guess that kind of counters the passive income from the House of Lancaster's manor. There's another monk does pop out. It looks like, considering how many units that Antan has got in the field, he should pick up the vast majority of relics. Although this scholar is going to have to back away. Crossbows looking to chase it down. The Khan will keep a keen eye on that, of course. I think Crackety just chases it down, really. Now, Anatan is almost fully walled up. Just a bit more to do. Looking at maybe a 14-minute Imperial Age for the Mongols. Not bad at all. Now committing to a blacksmith. And you feel things are going to start to get a raring to go for the Mongols soon enough. Floating a bit of gold. So possibly could have got a bit of a faster time with more villagers on food. But he'll get there eventually. He's probably going to use gold villagers to build the landmark anyway. The knight's just about to dive in. Might get some value here, Anatan. It could be problematic for Crackety, and the timing is good for Anatan. There's no units here. The crossbows are getting in position now, but they weren't where they needed to be. All these villagers are idled. We are all sorted out now for the Mongols. We should have enough resources now to take up. And what's it going to be? Got to be the Cabinet Palace, right? There it is. Let's go with 12 villagers. He spots the walls. The question is, what's Crackety going to be making? Ooh, snipes the scout. Nicely done with the spears. It could come down to one big battle now, you feel. Not moving out of his base, Crackety. And that's a very good idea. These knights about to dive in on the woodline, maybe. He's going to garrison, but the crossbows again out of position. Oh, these villagers, they're not building. He kind of put return to garrison for all of them, but he could have kept building. Villagers will go back now to finish what they started. A lot of delayment from a handful of knights. Anatan, though, is going to go to the Imperial Age himself before too long. Is now adding in some of the manors. So I guess the Mongols' tech advantage threat forced the Anatan as a House of Lancaster player to not really max out on his manors just yet. There it is. There is the Imperial Age. What's it going to get? You get Elite Mangudai. Not a bad unit to start off with. He's rallying it straight forward. Right, let's just follow the line. Where is it? Okay, not that far forward. I thought it was going to be right side of his base, but just a little bit further forward. The great thing is that these come out with Elite Mangudai straight away. Elite units, of course. It will be the Wingard Palace for the House of Lancaster. Incredibly powerful landmark. Gets you battalions at a cheaper price and pretty fast as well. So really strong landmark for them, that's for sure. Considering you already have the Lancaster Castle, it makes the Berkshire Palace a lot less often being chosen as an option for them. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen the House of Lancaster go for the Berkshire Palace. And with the elite Mangudai out, and I'm getting some elite knights. Knights haven't really been able to do any damage just yet, or they might now. Going to charge on in. Villagers in gold exposed. Crackety not paying attention. He is now, but he's lost a couple already. Of course, the crossbows have already gone forward, so they aren't there to defend. Should lose one knight there, Anatan. Oh yeah, he does in the end. Looks like the Mongols want to burn through. We'll get a bit of bounty. They move on in. Looks like it's going to be warrior monks too, which is actually a very nice unit to get because he hadn't, he hasn't invested in a prayer tent. With those warrior monks, he can actually look to capture some of the sacred sites. And now that he's in the Imperial Age, getting units for free, he's actually going to be able to have a significant amount of map control. Looks like spearmen and a couple of Earl's guards here for the Lancaster. Everything is starting to move a bit further forward now, though, now that initial resources have expired or have been excavated. 3 relics in play, though, for the House of Lancaster. 1 more on the way. Sacred site's now been captured by the warrior monks. It's going to be a nice bit of gold income to offset the sacred site, offset the relics rather that have been captured. Bit of raiding here. Might run into trouble though. The knights charging on in. Oh, big shots there for the House of Lancaster. Mangudai, most of them will get away though using the movement speed. One sacred site just about to be captured. In fact, 2 of them are. And that's going to set off a timer actually, which is quite nice for the Mongols. Now granted, the House of Lancaster probably have a stronger economy, especially with the relics and their manners. But the good thing for Crackety is he's about to set off a timer of a win condition, as long as he gets his sacred site, that is, at least. He's not moved a warrior scout there, or warrior monk yet. I'm sure he will soon enough. And the bigger question is whether Anatan can actually get onto the map for the 8,000 gold veins. That's going to be key, because he's only got, well, what is it, two tiles? Oh no, he's got another tile there, right at the back. Pretty safe position for it, actually. So maybe the pressure isn't on him just yet for the 8,000 gold veins. But it might become relevant later on in the game for sure. He's going to get incendiary arrows as well. He's got the second upgrade for the ranged units for the Mangudai and the crossbows alike. There's probably a bit too many to deal with. He's got a couple of palace guards. These are elite palace guards tanking, allowing the ranged units to do some damage behind this. And they're not doing a bad job, especially with the incendiary arrows now involved. We'll get rid of the meat shield of the palace guards and chase everything else. Other sacred site now has been capped. There is a timer. 10 minutes on the clock here for Crackety, just to hold on to the mid-map objectives. He's got a good opportunity to win this game. But will the House of Lancaster economy just steamroll things ahead soon? It's a possibility. I love the fact that Crackety is kind of camping this Wingard Palace. He wants to try and snap out units as they pop out, if he can. Get Nesta Bees, that's really nice to have in the army for sure. Some more elite Mangudai. Seems to be a really strong strategy actually for the Mongols up against the House of Lancaster. So far, so good in terms of the way it's working out. There could come a point where the number of units for the House of Lancaster just gets a bit too crazy. Going around the back with a couple of knights, just to see what value you can get for raiding. Speaking of raiding, he's going for the wood line. We'll pick off a couple of villages, but more importantly, keep some of the economy idled. Granted, a large proportion of the economy for the House of Lancaster aren't in villages. They're in the manor, and he's diving it quite heavily here. Considering, there are arrow slits inside these manors. Of course, still Imperial Age units won't take as much damage, but he's suffering a little bit. Unit numbers are thinning down, but he is causing some disruption to villagers, that's for sure. He's going to need to remax his army. Gonna be getting the silk bowstrings, a really strong recent upgrade added into Age of Empires 4. Across the archers, an additional 1.5 range. The mounted archers, including Mangadai, at 0.8. Running into trouble here though, Crackety's army. Does pick off some of these units though. Looks like Anatan might be looking to decap the Sacred Site. Now Crackety is aware of this, right? So he's got to make sure he keeps his win condition still in play as an option for him. He's going to be able to do that if he takes care of these knights. Another good group of army. Got some elite horse archers now added in. Elite Mangadai, Nesta Bees. Well, the amount of Mangadai's got there, it's going to be hard to punish. A lot of it's all coming from the Kaganet Palace, would you believe? Another Nesta Bees. Jeez, these guys come out fast, every 35 seconds. A whole group of Demi-Lancers come out for the House of Lancaster. Oh, this could be big though. Crackety needs to get there fast. He might be able to. These units are... they are chugging along fast. Oh, wait. Okay, only left one, but he left one unit there in the end. Could potentially see some outposts coming out for the Mongols. That's what's happening here. A bit closer to the Sacred Site. And some cannon emplacements could be really powerful to defend with. And it's going to keep hold of the Sacred Site. Not by much, by the way. But that keeps the timer ticking along. Biology for his cavalry units too. He does actually have a spring on replacement there, which certainly helps. He's trying to raid heavily here, Anatan. There's a lot of villages in one spot, of course, with the Mongols underneath the town centre. But the Mangadai chasing. He's got to keep as many of these villages alive here as he can. Crackety, as the palace guards come to defend. And the movement speed of these units is working really well for him, of course. The Deer Stones really impacts that, especially with the outposts on the field. And that could have been a lot worse there for Crackety. A bit of idle time, but not much more. I think Anatan needs to think about these sacred sites actually quite seriously. He's trying to get some value and some damage here, of course, but I think a big win condition here for Crackety certainly is the sacred sites, and this could be the army that decaps them. 6.5 minutes on the clock. Crackety's got to send everything there now if he wants to keep this win condition alive. Don't think there's enough here for Anatan. The palace guards will do well. He's rallying to this area. He's pushing this away. Yeah, he doesn't want to stick around there, Anatan. Understandably so. Crackety, yet again, keeps the win condition alive. Massive charge in from the elite knights. And the weird thing is that these are elite demi-lancers, right? So only 200 health, only 15 damage base, plus 6 versus heavy. Compare that to the elite knight, 369 HP, 33 base damage. That's incredible. These demi-lancers can't fight up against that, really. They look really good, demi-lancers, on the face of it, on the skins, but only 200 HP, only 16 damage. It's not that much of a... it's just not a great unit, right? Especially population efficiency in the late game. But he's making play for the sacred site now. Does have a cannon placement in this outpost. I think Crackety has got to go, right? Fighting this could be useful, especially because we've got the cannon placement. Spears might get the torches out. But he's actually peppering arrows. These Mangadai getting so much value against these cavalry units. The elite hobbler. He does take care of the outpost. But at what cost? These numbers are thinning down, and I think Crackety could... oh, he's going to lose an Nesta Bees, though. Might lose 2, in fact. But on the sacred site, that's really what matters. He's got to keep that alive. I think he might need to move off it for a second because there's a lot of spearmen, but he might just camp on it. He wants to keep it alive. If he moves off it, he might just get it decapped. Here come the palace guards. That's going to be important for this fight for sure. Looks like he's going to hold on. There aren't that many units here for Anatan, and the sacred site timer, it continues for the Mongols. And this win condition is becoming very, very real. As Anatan has to regroup once again. Got a feeling that actually, if he kept all his army together, he may have made one big push as the sacred site timer was ticking, but he didn't want to take any chances. Especially as the unit numbers just keep on escalating here for the Mongols. And the House of Lancaster, only 21 military. He is now starting to get some more production buildings. Now, a lot of players have found it difficult to deal with the House of Lancaster boom with manners. But I just wonder whether Crackety has cracked the code. He's doing it with the Mongols, maybe. A big part of this, make no mistake about it, is the Sacred Site timer. Now get a Hui Hui Pow, adding into the siege damage output. Slowly but surely, this army is getting very, very complex. It's incredibly hard to stop, actually, when you think about it, because what does the enemy go for? You have a mixed thoughts of what you can go for. As the Hui Hui Pow goes straight for the manners. Now, whilst you can't raid the economy necessarily, you can certainly chip away at it by taking down the... Oh, wait. What? Did he pack the Hui Hui Pow? Yeah, okay. Must have moved it slightly. Oh, the Sacred Site in the southeast. No! Oh, looks like the cannon placement might come in time, though. Villager might just go on the Sacred Site, just play a bit of ring around the rosy, buy some time, allow the knights to get there. I think, yeah, it'll be fine in the end. Especially with the spring on replacement. Might lose the villager, although get inside. Oh, it just doesn't manage it, but it doesn't matter. Main thing, the Sacred Site timer continues. And now the pressure is on the House of Lancaster to push on out, not only because of the Sacred Sites, but because the Hui Hui Pow slowly chipping away at the manners. The question is, how patient can Anatan get? Because there's only 3 minutes on the timer. It's going for Elite Spearman, Elite Yeoman, Elite Hobbler. At the moment, it's going for L's Retinue, mixing things up a little bit. I mean, it's an interesting thing, though, right? Because it's quite a fast training building, but really in the late game, Demi-Lancers and Hobbler, I don't know how strong they really are. I mean, I do know. They're not very strong. I think it's going to be featuring too well in the late game. It feels like it's got a good timing attack on it, with a fast Imperial Age from the House of Lancaster, but as we saw, kind of in a similar way, the Mongols can do it too. Not long on the clock, though. Probably going to come down to one big fight. In fact, it will come down to one big fight, because if he loses the Sacred Site timer, Crackety's economy is going to be weaker for it. And the manners are still up and running, most of them at least. Looking to prepare for a fight. That's a lot of elite horse archers and a lot of elite Mangadai. 73 of them, holy smokes. We'll see if that's going to be enough to stand the test up against Spearmen and Yeomen. And ultimately, they can always try and move away from the Spearmen, right? As long as he's not losing the Sacred Site. The Yeoman could be a bit of a problem. But if the Palaskars can get on top of them, that's going to be a problem for the House of Lancaster for sure. Try to go for a bit of a raid, but I think he senses there's an attack coming, right? So he wants to pull all the troops together. Bear in mind, by the way, there are 3 Nesta Bees. And so we talk about the Yeomen, we talk about the Spears, but those Nesta Bees, if they get some big shots, it could be absolutely huge as he dives on in. Looks like this is the huge fight that we're expecting to see. Nesta Bees fire off. Yeomen, most of them get out of the way, but this is huge damage coming out from the Mangadai. They're just standing there. Hello? The Spearmen just chewing through it. Well, to be fair, there's just so many Mangadai, though. They're slowly working their way through the Spearmen. There are hardly any left. It's just Yeomen. It's going to eat some massive shots from the Nesta Bees, and that will be GG. Anatan taps out, and the House of Lancaster have been beaten at their own game. The Mongols' fast Imperial has cracked the code. Crackety has beaten the House of Lancaster.